Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. The magic weighted vest. Something people aren't talking about. But you know Hood Champion is going to bring it to you. Now make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And leave that donation for that fried rice and chicken wings. And I'm going to tell you, if you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel. But, leave a little something so on the weekend, I can go out here and pick up my little fried rice and chicken wings. Now, that being said, after I do this video, I'm going to chill with my son, my 8-year-old. We were trying to beat the Super Mario. He's had the game. He lost the damn Nintendo Switch cartridge. But anyway, we're going to play it and beat all 9 levels tonight. But understand this. When it comes to Terence Crawford, when it comes to Canelo, we know it's all about Canelo's power, Terence Crawford's precision. There's so much more to both fighters, but the one thing I think we all can agree on is Terence Crawford has to somehow either maintain, well, let's say at a minimum he has to maintain his speed and as far as his hands and his feet. Now, as far as him becoming faster, that's just a plus because we know speed kills. You know what I'm saying? And Crawford's going to need that going up into the fight with Canelo. So this whole thing about Terence Crawford and what he's going to do to maintain his speed or to increase it, well, look, there's the magic weighted vest. In case y'all didn't know, Terence Crawford and his team have got him training in what I'm calling the magic weighted vest. And that is going to create a serious problem for Canelo if he isn't training in a magic weighted vest. So, can the magic weighted vest help Crawford? Absolutely. Now, if used wisely, a weighted vest can help Crawford as a secret weapon. Now, I'm going to tell you there are a lot of benefits for boxers when they train in the weighted vest. And with Crawford in particular, you see, him walking through Canelo is something, I just don't see it. But what the weighted vest can do is it can help to improve his explosive power. Now, we know Crawford can crack. But at 168, hey, we got to be fair. We don't know. But we know Terence Crawford, if he hits you, irregardless of what you weigh, in 10-ounce gloves, he's going to hurt you. But something to keep in mind, when he was knocking everybody out, he had on 8-ounce gloves at 147. 154 to 168 is 10-ounce gloves. So that difference of 2 ounces can make a difference. But that being said, he's going to, it did in the Majumov fight, right? Because he didn't knock him out. But what you're going to see, if the weighted vest is used wisely, now Crawford's punching power, it becomes more explosive. And he's going to need everything that he can possibly acquire when he's going to give him an advantage when he goes into that ring against Canelo. Training with added resistance force, it forces the muscles to fire harder. And that's what I'm going to be looking at to see just if the dividends really paid off for Terence Crawford. Now, when the vest comes off, and this is what's important, because y'all think I'm joking, right? Even Hood Champion trains in a weighted vest. See, all the weights are inside here. Let me show y'all what this is. See, I've been doing my runs lately in a weighted vest myself. But this is, these are the little bags that go into these little pockets, okay? So this right here is a weighted vest. This one, mine's is 25 pounds. But just let me tell you, when that vest comes off, even for me at 50 years old with all my ailments and everything going on, I'm just telling you, the movement feels lighter, feels faster. Even when I'm in here messing around, shadow boxing and playing around, my punches and my pivots and everything is just so much quicker. Now, if Crawford is doing what is my understanding, what's being reported, training from running, shadowboxing, sparring, everything with a weighted vest and also ankle weights. I am telling you, man, it could create a serious point of concern for Canelo Alvarez. You know, as soon as I heard this, I said, damn, my boy got a weighted vest on. You know who's the first face that came to mind? The first face, I just saw it, was Floyd Mayweather. Whenever you saw him jumping rope, I don't know about sparring, but jumping rope for sure, he always had them ankle weights on. Always. And when I sit here and put two and two together, that could explain Floyd's cat-like reflexes, those super quick feet. It could explain a lot about Floyd and how even towards the end of his career, fighters just couldn't catch up with him because he was able to just explode. And the punches and pivots were just something that was too fast for his opponents. But we saw that happen in real time with Floyd Mayweather. So maybe Terence Crawford against Canelo, this is something that he's trying to emulate. This is something that maybe he's going to benchmark from Floyd Mayweather and say, you know what? This shit worked for Floyd. And, you know, Crawford will tell you, to beat Floyd, you need to have, I can't remember the exact quote, but like six arms and something crazy. But he was basically saying, in so many words, Floyd was unbeatable. And when you look at the way Floyd trained, no matter if you like Floyd or not, everyone talks about Floyd was a gym rat, extremely disciplined, and there's a lot that can be learned from him. And I think Terence Crawford may have said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take this little nugget from Floyd, this little nugget from Floyd, and I'm going to sit here and make it my own. And I'm going to go into the fight with Canelo, and I'm going to try to replicate what Floyd did. Now, what I will tell you, I do think for Canelo, I should save this for another video. And I think I'm going to save it for another video because I got about 10 videos I want to do about all this shit. So I'm going to save what I was going to tell you. But continuing on with the weighted vest and the way he's training. The weighted vest also, if used wisely for Terence Crawford, like this is no secret. I'm telling you from experience, it enhances leg strength and it enhances endurance. The one thing Crawford's going to need, more than just the speed, he's going to need endurance, man. He's going to need it. Putting on that extra weight, look, it's not going to be easy to get in that ring and move around with that extra weight unless you have the endurance, you have the conditioning in your legs. You know, wearing a vest during the footwork drills or hill sprints, that does a lot for the conditioning of the legs. It helps to build lower body strength by maintaining agility and bouncing and being able to bounce higher at the higher weight classes. So Crawford's agility and bounce is something that you've seen in most of his fights. You know, Crawford is someone, when he gets up on his toes and he starts moving and using angles, it kind of reminds me of De La Hoya. You know, it's just a matter of time before he puts somebody out. In addition, when Crawford goes into that southpaw stance, which I don't know how he's going to come out against Canelo. I would think he probably comes out orthodox just to shock Canelo. But once he gets that bounce, it's all over. And Crawford's going to need to have that because I think more than ever, Terence Crawford's going to have to be able to move around and navigate that ring, probably from round 1 to round 12, unless he lands something significant and destabilizes Canelo, and as he has an opportunity to converge on him, put the Omaha, Nebraska Bing Bings on him, and put him out of commission. Furthermore, when it comes to Terence Crawford and the magic weighted vest, you know, Canelo and his team, look, they should be concerned because it's going to boost his cardiovascular efficiency. Cardio is everything in fighting. Now, like a lot of you, you know, I have fought in boxing matches before. And I'm going to tell you, you'll see a guy in there who has all the skill in the world. The guy in there and he's fighting, you know, he's not supposed to beat him. But he gets tired. And now you got the guy, the underdog. All of a sudden, he's putting the bing bings on the guy. And the guy gets stopped from fatigue. So Crawford knows he can't allow Canelo's pressure to tire him out. So now you see him training with the magic weighted vest. It's going to boost his cardiovascular efficiency. See, the extra load will increase heart and lung demand. When the heart and lung demand increases, now you have improved stamina and you're going to have improved recovery between the burst of speed, which Crawford is going to have to use. So when you really look at this, Crawford's going to have a damn good chance at winning this fight if the magic weighted vest is used wisely, because it's going to reinforce his core stability. Now, I don't know what Crawford's doing for his neck and chin, but we know Canelo's always strengthening his neck. That's why it's hard to knock Canelo out. So I would hope that Crawford and his team are also working on the neck and different exercises to ensure he can absorb those shots by Canelo. But I'm just going to tell you, since the vest sits close to the torso, it challenges core muscles during movement. It's going to help balance, and it's going to help his punch torque. So we know Canelo can get some torque behind his shots. But for Terence Crawford, the punch torque should be there, the balance should be there, the core, the midsection should be there. So when it comes to Canelo shooting those body shots, Terence Crawford should be able to stand up against that. And his body, from the conditioning and training, should be able to shield against anything that Canelo's bringing in moderation, because you can't stand there and allow Canelo to bring the mash-up, crash-up, and you decide that you're just going to sit there, man, and block all the punches with your chin and your body and pull a Pacquiao Margarito. Like, that is just suicide. But Crawford's too intelligent for that. So I am glad to hear that Crawford and his team have him doing everything with a weighted vest. And I just think when he does get in that ring with Canelo, man, I really think people are going to be shocked. I do. Canelo should be the favorite. I just did a video about Canelo and Crawford. Try to be fair to both fighters, but I just, if Canelo isn't training with a weighted vest, he could find himself having a pucker factor moment where he about to shit himself, because he's going to say, what the hell is going on with this Omaha, Nebraskan Terence Crawford putting these bing-bings on me? I can't catch him. He's not getting tired. He's super explosive. He's super sharp. His balance is on point. And I'm telling you, I said in another video, Eddie Reynoso's not going to have an answer. Now, how can this help? Specifically, how can a weighted vest... Hold on one second. Come on. Oh. Oh, yeah, go ahead. My wife, I barbecue, so she in there trying to eat and shit. But how can this help Terence Crawford specifically? The number one thing Terence Crawford fans are going to want to hear, that weighted vest specifically can help preserve Crawford's signature speed. The slick switch hitting that Crawford does, reactive counters, let me tell you, that has always, for Terence Crawford, relied on the fast twitch muscle response, which the weighted vest is going to help. Those drills can sharpen that edge even as he's bulking up. So the concern about Crawford being slow, becoming a stationary target at times, Canelo becoming a stationary target at times, the more I'm looking at this, Terence Crawford may know that he can't afford to be a stationary target. And as a result, when he gets in that ring, it could create some serious problems for Canelo. Look, Canelo's a great fighter. Lara gave him problems. Bivol gave him problems. Mayweather gave him problems. Austin Trout did pretty good, but Canelo lined him up for the right hand. But boxers who move tend to give special fighters who move have given Canelo problems. Terence Crawford's a special fighter coming up from a lightweight class, but the fact that he's going to be able to preserve his signature speed with the weight vest, that could create problems for Canelo. And remember, Crawford's got the reach advantage, and Crawford's a smart fighter. Even Canelo, for those of you who don't like Crawford, Canelo acknowledges how talented Crawford is. So how can you come out here and call him crawfish or Bumford or whatever this craziness that y'all come up with? Canelo's praising the man. Why can't you laud him? I'll tell you what, y'all going to be lauding him after the fight, especially if he beats Canelo, because that weighted vest is going to support his tactical style. I'll put it to you that way. Crawford's a technician, known for adapting mid-fight. He's going to need to adapt. But that whole overall body being conditioned by training in them weighted vests and them ankle weights and everything he's doing, let me tell you, that shit is going to simulate fatigue and force him to stay sharp under pressure. So you see what the work he's putting in camp? They always say, you fight the way you train. Just expect perfected late round adjustments if the fight goes late. and expect to see that happening from Terence Crawford. What I'm telling y'all is, this is, of course, it's some opinion, but a lot of this shit, I can't say it's 100% fact as far as what I'm predicting, but I'm just saying it could happen. All you can do in your best is prepare. It's like when I used to go through major inspections and shit in the military. All you could do, I used to tell them, it's like training for the big fight. Some people understood combat sports, some didn't. But we had to just train and train and comb through records and do our best to prepare. And let me tell you something, 10 times out of 10, we were very successful. And for me, when I watch Crawford, I'm looking at it as a guy who was a project manager in the military. And I'm like, my man is doing everything he's supposed to do to make sure, come fight time, that he's going to pass, like with us, the inspection with flying colors. So the fatigue he's experiencing in in training camp, and all of that, come fight night, he's going to be firing on all cylinders. And the magic weighted vest is the reason for that. Now, as far as Canelo, we know Canelo, I personally think Canelo doesn't get the respect he deserves, but I also feel that Canelo may, almost to a certain point, have Eddie Reynoso on cruise control. And what I mean is, Reynoso almost, the drills they're doing, maybe he knows Canelo knows how to do it, so Reynoso may sit back with his little Starbucks coffee, espresso, and Canelo do this, and that, sip his coffee and just watch him. But not really hands-on, not really treating them like this is going to be my science project, getting ready to go up and compete with this small special fighter, and we're going to go ahead and just obliterate him within 4 rounds. I think Reynoso, this is just my opinion, may kind of be a bit hands-off with Canelo because, he knows what he can do. It's just like when I had subordinates. I had that 1 or 2 guys and girls. I knew I didn't have to tell them anything. You know what I'm saying? They were conditioned, they were programmed to come in, get all the daily tasks done, all the weekly tasks done, the quarterly tasks, monthly tasks, quarterly tasks, semi-annual and annual tasks done. And I hadn't tell them anything. And I think that's kind of the thing with Eddie Reynoso and Canelo, but I'm just telling you, for Crawford in that weighted vest, that shit's building real-world fight readiness. And I don't know if Canelo and Eddie Reynoso are doing that together. Maybe Canelo's doing it by himself. I don't know if they've gone out here and solicited outside help and said, hey, we're going to bring you in. Canelo probably he almost made $1 billion from boxing. You can't go pay somebody a little $10 million to bring another set of eyes and ears in here to help you. So we just got to wait and see how that plays out. But what I'm going to tell you, with the power that Canelo's bringing, the free swinging that Canelo brings, those hard punches that he's bringing, I just think for Terence Crawford in the weighted vest, look, when it comes to slipping punches or exploding in a flurry, you're going to see Crawford be able to do that. And the vest conditions his body to handle extra weight without sacrificing finesse. And that's something that is very important and vital for Terence Crawford going forward against a guy like Canelo. He is going to have to ensure that his body's conditioned where he can do everything he did at 135, 140, 147, and a lot of what he did at 154 in that one fight with Majimov, is handle the extra weight without sacrificing finesse. And those are all wins for Terence Crawford. No matter what I say, people are going to have an opinion about Crawford. They're going to have an opinion about Canelo. But what I will say is, hey, let's say Crawford didn't use a weighted vest. All right? Let's say Old Hood Champion wasn't using this, okay? Crawford's speed might dip at 168. Not a whole lot, but it may dip slightly. And that may be just enough of a dip for Canelo to catch up to him and land the Guadalajara, Jalisco bombs. And that is something I know Terence Crawford. Look, the Terence Crawford fans, they feel like Crawford's invincible. Crawford knows this is boxing. Anything can happen. And I think more than anything, Terence Crawford acknowledges and he's cognizant that he cannot afford to have a speed dip. he can't have a speed dip when he gets in that ring with Canelo. Moving up 2 weight classes means more muscle mass. It can slow down footwork and hand speed. The footwork, the hand speed of Terence Crawford is his bread and butter when facing, as he enters the ring against Canelo. He's going to need the fast feet. He's going to need the fast hands. He's going to need everything. If without that weighted vest, he could lose that. Just enough for Canelo to tranquilize him. Now, without a weighted vest, less adaptation to power exchanges. Now you may say, okay, well, what does that mean? Look, without resistance training, the body may not be fully conditioned for the physicality of Canelo's punches and clinch strength. We know Terence Crawford is strong as an ox, but without the weighted vest, maybe Crawford just enters the ring with his farm strength, but the weighted vest helps to amplify that. So now an already cockstrong Crawford becomes cockstrong times 10, which is what he's going to need, especially getting into a clinch with a guy like Canelo. And he's going to need that conditioning to where he doesn't fatigue. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh, man, clinching, if you know how to clinch, you won't fatigue. All right, I'll tell you what, you tell Deontay Wilder that shit. Because you saw when he fought Tyson Fury in the second and third fight, although I got my opinion on those fights, the clinching that Fury was doing, Wilder never won a clinch. Fury was just bodying him around the ring, bullying him. Maybe Wilder's outcome could have been different if he had a weighted vest on. But the bottom line, Crawford's using it because he knows that can happen. Continuing on, without a weighted vest, because there's some people who think Crawford doesn't need anything. Bullshit. Without that weighted vest, he risks fatigue in them later rounds. You thought Madrimov had Crawford moving around. Crawford moved around that whole fight. Okay? You think he's not going to move around for Canelo? Carrying that extra weight, you got to have specific conditioning. And that ain't just my opinion. You know, most of these trainers will tell you that. Because he needs to be able to have fast recovery between rounds, and he needs to have that bounce in his legs. And he needs to have that recovery after he has those bursts of a flurry of punches. And he needs to have fast recovery to get his second and third wins. Crawford can't go 3-4 rounds and not have his second win because Canelo's pressured him and he's moving around. So without the weighted vest, again, it's all bad. But the bottom line is without the weighted vest, and I do agree on this, Crawford is so special that he'll still be dangerous. Okay? Anyone Crawford fights, he's going to be dangerous. But without the weighted vest, he's more vulnerable. He's more vulnerable, man. So the magic weighted vest is extremely important. Crawford's IQ, Crawford's timing, that doesn't go anywhere because he doesn't have a weighted vest. But training with the weighted vest, let me tell you something, that's going to help to frustrate Canelo. And I think with it, he's going to be able to sustain the pace and absorb the pressure effectively. Without it, he won't be able to support the pace, absorb the pace or do anything with the pressure. He won't be able to do anything with it except what a guy like him would normally do. Maybe the first couple rounds, 4 rounds, but when you have that weighted vest, gives him a good chance being able to handle all that across the distance of the fight. Whether he finishes Canelo early or goes the distance or Canelo finishes him, whatever happens. But it gives Crawford a damn good chance on putting the bing-bings on Canelo. And maybe, definitely going the distance and getting a decision win, but who knows? He may hit Canelo with something Canelo doesn't see, and all of a sudden, the magic weighted vest shows up, and Crawford gets a knockout. But you just don't know. And remember, it's just a conversation. You know who else I think I saw with a weighted vest? Keith Thurman. I think I saw Keith Thurman training with a weighted vest. So it's pretty common in combat sports. But there's a reason why Crawford's incorporating it. You see, with that weighted vest, we've talked about a lot of things that could happen for Terence Crawford in a positive way. He's going to need enhanced explosiveness. The weighted vest can give him that. Training under the resistance, again, it's going to sharpen those fast twitch muscle response. Some people are saying Crawford doesn't have that anymore because they saw him fight Majumov and he didn't knock him out, and Majumov was able to touch Crawford. I don't know if Crawford trained with the weighted vest for Majumov, but what I will tell you is Crawford didn't look super fast, super snappy to me against Majumov. So I wasn't able to find out if he trained with the weighted vest for Majumov, but with the vest, I think he should be snappier, should be a little faster against Canelo. His conditioning should be better for the bigger opponent. It should improve his endurance and recovery. Sharpen his footwork at angles because he'll be lighter on his feet without it. And I think at the end of the day, Teddy Atlas was talking about the psychology of boxing and whatever you need to do in training to give you an edge, whether it's taking ice baths, staying in the sauna longer than someone else, getting up earlier than your opponent to train, putting an extra hour in the gym, whatever it takes to give you a psychological edge. And I personally feel the magic weighted vest for Terence Crawford could help him, like, say, you know what, I feel lighter on my feet, and I'm going to feel lighter on fight night, and that's going to help boost his confidence. It will be almost like unleashing this weapon on fight night that Canelo hasn't seen, or at least he thinks he's seen it, but it's all polished up now. Come on. Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll see what happens with Crawford and the magic vest. But what I'll tell you is, Canelo, if he's not using the magic vest, Canelo needs to figure it out. Because I think he needs it just to offset Terence Crawford and what Terence Crawford's doing. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see what happens. Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. Terence Crawford, the magic weighted vest, that may be all it takes for Crawford to get in that ring and really upset the apple cart, shock the world, and put down the Guadalajara and Jalisco native. But that's easier said than done. Again, Canelo should be the favorite, but Crawford's a live dog in this fight. Don't sleep on Terence Crawford. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.